Hey, my name is Dominique Ehrl, class of 2016 in fall, and I don't know what else you want me to say.
That's perfect.
And I love FIU.
Hey.
So it interested me from the beginning of me also wanting more sales experience. I had only all marketing experience, and I felt that the direction I wanted to go and the goals I had and maybe the life that I wanted to live also was more in the trajectory of a sales position and career. And I felt that I was maybe at a disadvantage looking at I didn't have any sales experience, and I felt that that was always a strong thing to have on a resume. I found out we had a sales program. I didn't even know that from the beginning, that FIU had a sales program. And I was like, oh, perfect. And I contacted Nancy Roseo, and I kind of went out on a whim, and I was like, hey, like, I'm not a business student or a marketing major, but this is the interest I have, this is why I want to do it, this is how I feel like it will help me. Is there any way that I can take your class and join the sales society? And she was like, absolutely, you know, professors love that when you want to take their class. I think the biggest one was a tournament. I think it was a great opportunity to try something that is very highly to be real life scenario, but to do it in a safe, like, practice environment. And I think that was the biggest thing, because when you're in a real sales call or like real phone call for sales, whatever it might be, you're not going to be able to ask your seller, your buyer at the end, like, hey, like, how'd I do? Like, you can't ask them that, right? So I think it's really good to be able to have that safe environment to practice something that is very likely going to be real life. Another great memory, I think, also was being in the class, and just in Nancy's class was very, very insightful, super helpful. Also being able to do some like call simulations with professionals in the area, and just like, okay, yeah, who wants to volunteer to do a sales call? Like, just on the fly, and people would be like, oh my gosh, not me, right? And then you hear Nancy, Dominique, you want to go? And I'm like, I don't want to go. So you just go and you mess up, and you mess up hard, and you like swallow it, and you're like blushing, and you're like, wow, that sucked. Like, that absolutely was horrible. But then again, getting that feedback and then learning, you know, that these are like you say a lot, or you say okay a lot, or you say like a lot. You're like, wow, I didn't even realize I said that. So it was a very, I think, lucky opportunity, and I think half of it is always luck and half of it is preparation, right? I didn't think that there were really entry-level positions that I'd be qualified for, so I didn't look for them, which I think was like a big learning experience for me, to not always just assume things because of the gravity or the huge, like, I don't know, Google is Google, right? So like, how am I as Dominique, as a student, as, you know, no one with real work experience, going to get there? I actually like reached out to a contact here at FIU, and it was through the first generation program. And one of my mentors there, I was like, hey, I'm graduating, like I'm kind of like looking for my next step here. Do you know if you can reach out to anyone? She sent my resume out, and it was one of the ladies I sent it out to was someone who's the vice president of a media agency here in Miami. And that person also has an insane amount of contacts, and I had lunch with her, and she's like, oh yeah, my friend in Google, and Google this and Google that. And I was like, oh, Google. I was like, oh, this lady knows somebody in Google. And that was my first, like, I need to hold on to this contact, right? And I need to somehow like finesse my way to talk more about Google. But had I not reached out to her and had like a catch-up talk with her phone call, I probably wouldn't have learned about it because I wasn't looking. So when she told me about it is when I actually started looking, and she sent me the role, and I was like, oh, like, I had no idea that there were entry-level positions for people like me right out of college that Google hires. I was like, are you kidding me? Like, they hire us? So that was kind of my first interaction with Google, and that's kind of what like paved the way to the interview process, was because of that networking and those conversations that I had with those few people.